It has been a minute since I've done some recording, and it has been even longer since I've done some recording of Frieren. So let's go ahead and get back into this and pick up where we left off after having finished the conflict with Or the Guillotine. Yes? Episode 11 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. You're late. What? What a solemn scene. Okay. That was a good intro. I think that was a good opening scene. It was what, like a minute? Yeah, not even. But that was a very good opening scene to the episode, I think, because I feel like what do I want to say? I feel like a lot of the times in shonen series, and obviously, Frieren, a lot of the reason why people like it is because it is, in many respects, not your typical shonen series, right? They kind of, in a sense, glorify the battle scenes, right? Like the action is the cool part, and this is kind of, even though these suits of armor were not like they were not actively alive participants, like they were not living participants in the battle that we just saw take place. uh Showing all of the suits of armor that were once people lying scattered across the battlefield like that, and just like it being a very quiet scene, I think kind of emphasizes sort of the realism of battles to an extent. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I feel like that scene sort of emphasized the realism of the battle, and Frieren praying over them uh, as the day breaks here. I think also not only emphasizes that point, but it also reiterates why she underwent the battle the way that she did. Now we're getting the kind of reconciliation. Oh wow, and even acknowledgement of the way that she. Okay, that's actually a really cool little addition to the scene. That's further development of Stark right there in that simple little line. Don't say it like that. Bit of closure for him, because he already knew that his son had become part of Aura's army, but being able to see, in a sense, that he was laid to rest, it's gonna feel good. Oh, rip. Didn't even have to open it. Yet you still tried to pawn it off on her as a okay. The fact that he knew that, I think, feels kind of rude. Oh, do tell. Oh. Yeah, no, we heard about that before. Um, okay. Little bit of levity here. I'm actually kind of glad we got that clarification. I was starting to develop a very negative opinion of the nobility in this world. Oh, Stark's already gone. He is mentally checked out. Ah! Don't just levitate him like you're taking out the trash. And you're gonna do it through the town? The disrespect! Why is that so big? It Am I crazy? It looked like they were just eating burgers that were like larger than pancakes. This is really nice. I was very curious how this situation was going to resolve in a number of ways. And it's interesting to see that they are sticking around and kind of in a sense enjoying being victorious heroes and also just sort of like engaging with the townsfolks and even helping with repairs we saw Fern doing. Really like this music, by the way. That may have been my favorite thing that I've heard from the soundtrack thus far. And this show's had like some pretty good, pretty fitting songs at various points too. So I don't know. I really like that, and I felt like it really fit the kind of the mood. Again, it's like a celebratory victory, but not like wholly joyous either. I don't know. You arguably have two first class mages. Oh wait, is that like an actual? Oh, oh, okay. It's an actual certification. Never mind. She's only third class. She learned magic before that certification system existed. I'd be willing to bet. Yeah. What is that antique? Oh boy, half a century. Are we really gonna have a test taking arc? I know this is a common thing, but I feel like my something about my camera looks off. Like the lighting. Hmm. Frustrating. Why can't things just stay the same? I don't change my settings. Why does everything always have to look and sound different? I don't know what. Oh, like when Napoleon invaded Russia. Ah, rip. How many times is Stark gonna die this episode? Episode 11, Winter in the Northern Lands. 28 years after the death of... Yeah, okay. Is he really still thinking about that? Oh, interesting. I don't know. I would have assumed that that spell like localized gravity in a sense around what was being carried, but I guess not. She's gonna drop him. Should be. Yeah, probably. Ah, nice little cabin. Don't care. We're going in. Only slightly slowing down. What do you mean? Pervert! He's just doing squats! Also, don't think I don't notice your ears, buddy. Wow. Yeah? Oh. So, in other words, you were screwed if they didn't show up. As he's bundled up in his blanket. Well, they don't have quite so noble goals, I don't think. as you might be assuming. Put him closer to the fire then. This dude is obsessed with his jumbo berry special. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy my berries as well, but my guy. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. He's gonna freak out. Wait for it. There it is. I like this guy's voice. I feel like I might know the VA. I don't know. Check later. Rude! You expect to hear the name? You expect to have heard the name of everybody with a good body? Like, is it all gonna be frozen? How long is a while? He seems like he's got plenty of supplies. Don't like that question. You don't? Oh, way to just drop that, Fern. Before that? I mean, he's not wrong to have assumed that she's done things before, that she's lived, decently long before that, but I feel like that's a pretty okay, Stark. But I feel like that's a pretty big accolade and part of someone's reputation to just be dismissing like that. Nuts and berries. Nice. Okay, I thought he was using that on the rabbit for a second, and I was like, that seems like overkill. How long are we spending here? Are we just holding up for the entire window? Nearly 6 months, my word. How did you plan on... If they didn't show up, what was your... Okay. I question this dude's foresight. Why don't you give it to her yourself? You made it. You're the one who seems to appreciate her piety. He's calling her young? What a selfish reason to have faith. Sorry, but not sorry, also. Although I get the... I do, of course, though, see how the base desire resembles other themes from... Oh, that poor fox! Wolf? No, I'm pretty sure that's Fox. Seems like a decent guy though. How far back did we just go? Okay. Okay, is this like a common part of their religion? Is the goddess praising them after they die, or are we about to learn of a connection between Heiter and Kraft? I almost forgot the guy's name already. Wait, yeah, no, there's too many similarities in the way they're speaking. Whose lifetime? I mean, we heard it last episode. I thought it was kind of interesting. Oh, geez. Nice save, Stark. We're really just gonna pass up this chance at socialization with another. Okay. All right. Is winter over? I'll see you in a few centuries. What a what a parting message. Huh. Okay. I definitely expected that we were gonna travel with him for maybe not like the rest of the show, but at least for a little bit. That's huh. Okay. That was really just a one-off. I mean, I he says he'll see Frieren again in a few centuries. There's a possibility that we'll see him again in like, 4 or 5 episodes, something like that. But very interesting. Very interesting though. I think that that was just a one-off. And yeah, so I don't know. The hmm. I'll be curious if we end up hearing any more about him in the future because he just that seemed like a very interesting character to only have around for I'll say less than an episode because it was more than half an episode, but like we didn't meet him until we were taking shelter from the winter storm. There were still the first few minutes, several minutes, whatever, that we were still in the city with the graph, right? So yeah, I don't know. That was again, that's just a very interesting character because we saw in the Himmel flashback for this episode that the way that he spoke to Frieren and the way that Hater, I don't know how to pronounce his name, whatever, the original priest guy that we knew, the way that he spoke to Frieren about the idea of like being praised and yeah, that just seemed too similar to be coincidence, I think. But again, maybe the priests of this religion are just all trained and raised to speak in similar manners. I suppose that's possible. And yeah, the way that he spoke of like being remembered for deeds and I think the way he phrased it was triumphs uh, was in a sense, similar to kind of the way that we've heard like certain characters talk about being remembered, and something that I commented on a couple episodes ago, I think, with like Himmel's Himmel's desire to have like statues of them made so that people would remember Frieren in particular after, long after they died, and their achievements in defeating the demon lord, demon king, whatever, were no longer like in immediate living memory. So there's some cool overlap, and despite like similarities with this character, it is a new perspective in a sense, especially in part because he was another elf, and one who, by the way he was talking, seemingly was, much older than even Freer, and unless he was making assumptions about her, how long she had lived, which is also possible because from what we saw, they didn't actually like get to know each other that well, right? Like the conversation that we saw where he was like, tell me about yourself and I'll praise you in place of the goddess that you don't believe in. That was at the point where they had said that it had already been almost 6 months, and like they hadn't really seen me. So like up to so like they'd spent all those months together, all that time together. Which again, I know that for them it's not that long, but like how are you passing the time, right? Like you're stranded in a log cabin for most of the time when you're not out foraging for, you know, food and, maybe firewood and whatnot. So like how are you passing the time? Are you all just sitting in this cabin silently? Like I don't imagine you have a lot of games on hand to be playing with each other. So are you not socializing? Are you not like communicating and enjoying each other's company to some extent? So yeah, I don't know that I don't know. And I just, to me, like maybe it's just because I'm a naturally curious person, but I also just feel like it is kind of weird that even from what we've seen, where like, Freeman's not exactly the most outgoing social individual, right? But I still feel like there would be some desire to like want to get to know this other elf. But seemingly these two didn't really seemingly neither of them really had much interest in interacting on any kind of like deeper level. I don't know. Little weird. Little weird. It was interesting to see, don't get me wrong. But yeah, and huh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just a bit of an odd again, I think there was definitely good stuff that happened this episode, stuff that I enjoyed seeing, especially like so the beginning part of the episode I already mentioned while it was happening, like during the episode reaction, that like the things that we were seeing were something that I was interested to see how it was going to be handled, and I do really like how it played out. And then for the second half of the episode, it's not that I didn't like it. I just feel like again, it's kind of like I don't know. To an extent, maybe I'm thinking that I just wanted to see more, but also from some of the kind of context that we're being given, it seems almost like there wasn't more to show, if that makes sense. And from thinking of it from that angle, it's just kind of like, well, I wasn't there, right? Does that make sense? So it's not that I'm saying this was a bad episode. I did it. I really I did actually enjoy this episode a decent amount. It's just I don't know. It's just I think that to an extent what we saw from the interactions and the and the not necessarily that dynamic, but like yeah, just overall what we saw from this encounter with this other elf, it just didn't really, unless we're gonna get more of it like next episode or a couple episodes from now in flashback, or something. I feel like it didn't necessarily give me what I wanted, I suppose is the way to say it. Which, to an extent, I think does kind of fit with this show. I feel like this show does often kind of give you the perspective or pieces of information that you weren't necessarily hoping for. But since everybody's expectations and such are different, maybe that's just me. But I think that's gonna be it. I don't think I'm gonna talk terribly long for this episode. I think that we are kind of good. So yeah, bit of a short discussion section for this first episode back after a little while. But yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. So remember to like the video. Remember to leave a comment on the video. Check out other stuff on the channel if you are so inclined to do so. And until I see you in the next one, take care. Bye bye.